As many of you might have already heard, Google just announced their new flagship phones, Google Pixel 6 and Google Pixel 6 Pro. And I have been a long-time Pixel user. I've used Google Pixel 1, Google Pixel 3, and spoiler alert, I just ordered Google Pixel 6. And watching the Google Pixel 6 event, one thing caught my attention. Isn't it interesting how a company like Google, who is well known for their cutting-edge technology and AI and machine learning, somehow manages to make a phone that feels so human. In my previous Google Pixel 3 video, I talked about how Google Pixel gave you a peace of mind that you would never miss a moment, especially when it comes to camera. It's a smartphone you can trust that it would capture your precious memories. With features like Top Shot, Night Sight, and Flip to Search that came out with Pixel 3, it allowed you to live in the moment. But now with Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, I feel like these are the phones that would help you make the moment. With motion mode and magic eraser, I think these are the features that will allow you to capture the moment that you would have otherwise missed without Google Pixel 6. Or it would require a considerable amount of effort and skill to do it yourself manually in either Lightroom or Photoshop or photo editing software of your choice. And to me, it's the moments that are invaluable. The moments you cannot go back in time and recreate. And this is something that feels so human about it. Isn't it ironic how a company like Google was so advanced and make artificial intelligence so intelligent and smart, make these features for human, and it feels so human. As you can see in their marketing promotions, in their ads, they put this home screen of the new OS Android 12 Material U on the big billboard. It features a picture of humans, of people on the home screen. I think Google wants to convey a message that, hey, we are not so scary, we're not Skynet, we are human. We're making the technology work for you. You are not a slave to technology. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me talk about the features that are interesting in the new Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. I'm not gonna dive too much into the specs, so boom, here they are. The main thing to know about the spec is on the Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, you're getting 2.5 times larger sensor over the Google Pixel 5. And on the Google Pixel 6 Pro, you get the 4 times telephoto zoom lens. It's not actually zoom. And the sensor behind it is larger than the main sensor on Google Pixel 5. And on Google Pixel 6 Pro, you get a larger front-facing camera sensor compared to the Google Pixel 6. And Pixel 6 Pro have a larger field of view compared to Google Pixel 6. And Pixel 6 Pro can shoot 4K on the front camera. And both phones shoot 4K 60 only on the main rear camera. And another thing is, the Google Pixel 6 Pro has a 120Hz display, while on the Google Pixel 6, it has only 90Hz display. Okay, the last Google phone reveal event that made me go wow was the Google Pixel 3 event back in 2018. Until now, Google Pixel 6 event made me go wow again because it feels so human what Google is making. Okay, as I've said earlier, Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro are phones that will help you make the moment, not just living in the moment. And how do they do that? The first interesting feature is motion mode. So the motion mode is mimicking with AI and machine learning slower shutter speed shot of you shooting something moving really fast. So let's say with the older phones, you're shooting someone on the bike in really harsh daylight. Of course, the phone is gonna shoot with a really fast shutter speed that freezes everything in the frame. So you do not get the sense of motion in the frame. But with AI and machine learning in the new Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, it can mimic the sense of motion. So, and it knows if you are shooting someone on the bike going this way, it knows that the background would have to blur in the opposite direction of where the biker is going. So it's gonna blur in the streak horizontally. But it's so smart that it knows that inside the wheel is spinning in circular motion. It's not going horizontally only. So it's gonna blur the wheels in a circular motion. You can even shoot waterfalls and light trails of the traffic. This is all thanks to machine learning that Google has trained its AI. Another thing, magic eraser. This is not something new, but this is now done easier than before. So let's say if you want to remove some distraction in your background or foreground of the photo, you can do it now with just a tap of a finger. Back in the day, you have to use Lightroom and Photoshop and do it manually, or Adobe has their own AI thing called content aware fill. Now Google can do it too, but with a tap, just a tap of a finger, of a stylus, of a nose, whatever you use. It's not perfect as I've seen, but it's smart enough to do quick editing for your social media post. I really like this ad from Google Japan, where there's a bride and groom going on a pre-wedding photo shoot. They hike up the hill and it's really windy, and they have two friends with them trying to tidy up all the veil and the wedding dress. When they snap a shot, there are 4 people in the frame, not just the groom and the bride. And with magic eraser, they just tap 2 friends and poof, they're gone. So these are something that help make the moment for the groom and the bride, for the users, and I think that's cool. Next about the camera is face unblur. So Google is using a main wide angle lens and ultra wide lens to capture photos at 2 different exposure. So let's say the main lens is going to give you a perfectly balanced exposure, but the motion might be blurry. They are simultaneously using the ultra wide angle lens to capture a maybe slightly darker images, not so well exposed, but it's tack sharp. You can make out the subject, you see face is not blurry. So they're merging that sharp image from the ultra wide angle into a more balanced exposure picture that you capture with the main lens. So any face that you might have otherwise captured blurry is now unblurred. Next is the real tone feature that Google claims to more accurately represent people of color in the photos. Traditionally, an auto mode on digital cameras, if you see something darker like in this room, if I set camera on auto mode, this dark room might not be dark because the camera will try to balance out the exposure. They always try to make things easier to see. So anything dark, the camera will try to undark it. But that's not the reality. That's not how my eyes see it. I know I set this room to be dark. So the same goes for the skin. People's skin come in all different shades. So Google used machine learning to train their AI to understand that, okay, some people's skins are darker and some people's skin are different tones. Not every shot has to be adjusted so that it's so brighter and washed out. So this is really cool and very human in my opinion. Google is trying to accurately represent people of color. That makes technology less scary for us. They make technology more human. And since Google Pixel phones are phones, they must be used to communicate. So they added this interpreter mode and live translate. In an interpreter mode, this is not new, but what's new is they now work offline and more accurately with speech detection. On the new Google Pixel, they claim to be more accurate. And also there's this thing called live translate. Okay, so with Google Pixel, it came out a while ago. There's a feature that auto-generates captions on any video, not just YouTube videos, any video you shoot. If there's speech in it, it can transcribe it. Live transcribe. It used to work in only a few selected languages. Now let's say I'm Thai, right? Let's say if I'm watching something in spoken English, back in the day, actually now, when I turn on live transcribe, it will only transcribe the spoken language. So spoken English, text is English. Now Google added the next step of advancement. So instead of getting straight up transcription, you can translate the transcription in real time. And the next communication feature is the hold for me feature that uses AI to talk to pre-recorded phrases, or when you call the call center and they're telling you to press 0 for operator, press 1 for this purposes, like when you call a bank, press 1 to check your balance, press 2 to change your PIN, and sometimes the numbers go up to 9. So maybe by the time you're listening to number 9, you've already forget what number 1 is. So now Google has put this on the screen and it tells you, okay, number 0 is this, number 1 is that, number 2 is that. You can just press the text to see what it is. And the hold for me, sometimes you're in queue, right? It takes a while for a human to answer your call. As I said, Google allows you to live in the moment. It works for you, not you working for the technology. So it will notify you when a human picks up the call and it calls you to come back and talk to a human so you can get your things done. Man, I'm so impressed how Google makes lives easier. This is what I talked about, how it lets you live in the moment and make moments now with Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. Oh, and I almost forgot something really important. Something really interesting too. The regular Google Pixel 6 starts at $599. That's $599 US, while the Google Pixel 6 Pro starts at $899. Now, is the $300 extra worth a telephoto lens, a wider field of view front-facing camera, a 120Hz display? I don't know if that's up to you, but for me it's not. So I already ordered a regular Google Pixel 6 and it will be here very soon, and I'm definitely making a review for that. So if you want to see it, please make sure you subscribe and like the video if you like it. Thank you for watching till the end. I really appreciate your time and I'll see you in the next video.